GM, welcome to episode 3 of Fantasy Talk Live. Today's very special guest, co-founder Kipit. Kipit, how are you?
Hey man, I'm super excited to be here. I'm good. And you?
Oh, doing very well. Yeah, it's been I know you've came on like Fantasy Hour of the Space before in the past. Always a hoot chatting, and yeah, I'm super excited to chat, especially like on camera this time too, which is awesome.
Yeah, I feel it's been probably the first time that I'm showing my face so much lately, and we got a nice awkward photo of my brother and I, thanks to CPT Dank. I don't know if you see it, like the our two face like next to each other.
Yeah, it's so
It's
awesome.
honestly frightening, to be honest. Even my parents were like, "Oh wow, we didn't even realize you were so identical."
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it's so cool because I have some of my really close friends. I actually call them like my little brothers. They're identical twins too, and I showed
oh,
them that picture, and they're like, "I wonder if that'll work with us." And I did it. I'm like, "Yeah, you guys, you're identical, but you're not identical like Kip and Mikado. Like, your guys is just crazy.
yeah,
Like, it's so awesome."
that's insane. I mean, I guess we actually tried to like change our glasses or like change some stuff so people could like easily recognize us, but it didn't change much. Even with like completely different glasses, they were still saying, "Oh, you look exactly the same." So at some point, we just like fuck it and let's just take whatever like suit us and often it looks a bit similar. So yeah, that's true.
Yo, so I made the post, like that poster I made for us here, and I don't remember who it was. I think it was like ACH. He flipped the poster and he's like, "Now it's Mikado." Like, I was like, "Oh my God, that's so perfect." Like, 'cause I know Thread Guy said something about that. That was like, you guys are
Yeah.
mirrored images of each other.
It's kind of true, yeah, because the only thing that's really different from the face is like the hair that's on the opposite side. So yeah, definitely kind of like the same, the opposite face of the same coin, kind of. Yeah.
Yo, that's so awesome. So kind of started off here. I wrote down some questions beforehand. I try to be a little more prepared for this one. So for those who don't know you, who is Kipit and how'd you get here?
Yeah, good question. So I'm Kipit. I've been building Fantasy Top for more than 1 year and a half, actually. So I'm the CTO here at Fantasy. So I've been in crypto and Web3 building for more than 3 years now. And yeah, Fantasy Top has been really the project that I've stuck around the most and that we had the most success with so far. And it's been an insane story and a great adventure, yeah, so far.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the I mean that's when I for like I kind of remember you guys a little bit from like the Friend Tech era, but it was definitely like I got into fantasy and it was my like it just grabbed me by the horns and I was game over for me, right? Like it's been all or nothing ever since. Like onboarded my wife, my kids. One of the questions here is actually from my kids, so they
Oh,
wanted me to
wow.
ask you, which is going to be
Nice.
super cool. And but yeah, so with that, when like where did the inspiration for fantasy come from?
I mean, yeah, Frontech, as you said, is actually was one of the at when we started thinking about new stuff, and like we started actually thinking about new stuff because the first project that we were building, like Travis Mikado and I, which was at the time a NFT lending aggregator, was like doing not so well. Like the type of project that is the worst because you do have some user, you do have some volume, but you don't really know if it's sticking around, and you start like inventing excuses for yourself like, oh, if I had this feature or that, it will maybe they will come and that kind of stuff. But so we took some holidays and started thinking about new stuff. At the time Frentech was around, was doing a lot of hype. Socialfy, I've kind of be always there since 2021. I've been even like in my previous like years of building, we even built one of the first product on the Lens protocol, my brother and I, one of the very first UI on top of Lens protocol that I believe is now almost dead. But yeah, so it's been something that we've been like thinking about a lot, and so we had seen also some like similar stuff like Sorare that's doing like drafting but with crypto, and it's kind of clicked in a way that we were, oh, like it would be super fun to do the same stuff but with influencer, and definitely it was not like oh, we have this big idea, big vision. It was, oh, that's actually fun. We could play it. We could actually enjoy this. So let's just like build this in 2 weeks and see if people stick around, and people did stick around. So yeah.
Say that is one thing that like I've like myself and the whole community and really the whole space has really commended you guys on is the ship and ship fast, right? And just get it out there, listen to the community, and it's like especially because a lot of people have like this PTSD from like 21, 20, 20 to 22 really of like over promise, never deliver. You guys do the exact opposite. You under promise, over deliver. Like it's you always have something up your sleeve. You're always thinking 10 steps ahead. Um, it's so awesome. And like the one thing that got me to play and how the what I've used to onboard like my farming brother who barely uses his iPhone, right? Is the fact that the fantasy aspect of it. Um, and do you play a lot of fantasy sports at all or
Not much, to be honest. I did play a bit of like football fantasy game, but it was not even with real money, more like just playing with my friend and stuff. So really, for me, it was not a world that I knew a lot, and we've been diving into it since then. So it's quite fun. But
is
to be like that could be explained also because in Europe actually, so where I'm from, fantasy game is actually a much less known stuff compared to in US. In US, like fantasy sport is something that's like whenever I talk about fantasy in the US, it's something that's click automatically. Where compared to here, I kind of have to move backward and start with the sport example. And often people like in France or in Europe don't know much about the sport example himself, and then drew this parallel with the influencers. So we are kind of like of a step backward compared to you in the US.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm like. It's made it super easy for onboarding like everyone, especially in my like little friend group, and then which is a lot of fun. That's HK talks about it as well too. Um, so about this is I'm gonna go ahead and just ask the question because I heard my daughter peeping. This is from my 6-year-old. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh wow, crazy! I'm to be fair, I'm pretty sure I would still be around fantasy. I mean, it's still a question of will fantasy, the game as you know it, is will be the main focus of the fantasy company, or like, I mean, even technically now, myself especially, I'm more focused on the cloud projects, and Mikado is actually the one leading the core game with like half of the team. And so as of today, we already kind of split, even though what we're doing in the end is the same. So even though at the end it's like the UI is completely different, what I do is just like process Twitter data and make sure that we can rank everyone, and then that kind of stuff. So yeah, in 5 years, pretty sure we'll still be around the three of us. I mean, at least that's the goal. We've if we wanted to I mean, the if we wanted to rug, we would have done it in the first 2 months following the fantasy launch, you know. So,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's so. I'm pretty like I think we've shown that we are committed on making this stuff go as big as possible, and we're like super excited about where we are right now. But it's far, far, far from what we are like expecting and hoping and dreaming of. So yeah,
And that's
fantasy is the
what
one.
yes, and that's what's always like amazed. Like I think there's a lot of people, especially me, is like you've accomplished so much in the last year and like 3 months, 4 months, almost year and a half. That most projects would be like, "Yo, this is awesome," you know. Let's take a breather. Let's take a step back and just like vibe. No, you guys like you just said, this is nowhere close to where you want to be, right? Like you're always looking forward. You're always looking ahead. And then so what are I know you said you guys work on a little bit different things, and fantasy is a very, very complex, like not complex thing. It's easy, like Clayton Mooney says it the best. It's easy to learn, difficult to master, right? Which is
Yeah,
what makes it so fun.
that's definitely
Um,
true.
what are the like what's your part of like your dev part and then like your brothers as well? And just kind of like that how that all works, you know, as well as like Travis and kind of like the positions
So
or
the question is like, how are we split between Mikado and I
yeah,
in dev
yeah,
powers? So, I mean, the first year of fantasy, when the only thing that was there was the game, it was really, I would say, had like more of I mean, I'm the CTO, so everything that's more like technical and depth would be the thing I would be focused on. And Mikado is actually really good in the at the product level and thinking about like a user and thinking like, I mean, everything, most of the stuff that you see now, like the onboarding or everything that make it a nice and smooth like way for user to get onboarded on, is basically mostly Mikado thinking about that, and Travis also. So I would say that was the way we were split. And now that cloud is here, like we kind of like, since the release of the base v3, and we kind of split the team into, and I'm leading the cloud team, and Mikado is like fully focused on the game.
See, that is awesome. That
Yeah.
yeah, because it's you guys are like not only like especially with the V3 launch, and I mean Travis hinted about it a little bit, but a lot of us weren't expecting like this whole revamp to the UI UX. Like
Yeah.
it blew a lot of us away. It's so clean. I mean, it's so fun to you can get lost in it very easy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I mean, as you said, we'd rather not share about like, we never like not overpromise and try to over deliver, and that's the best way to surprise the community and all. And definitely we don't like to like talk too much about stuff as long as it's not like fully done or like fully perfect. We do ship with a lot of bugs. I mean, you know, it's obviously, and I think that's something that's going to have to change, and that we're like learning that we need to change it on the game aspect. The first year of fantasy was like a lot of bugs, but people tolerated them. Now, if we want to move forward to the next phase where we actually onboard new users, we gotta have like a perfect game and a bug-free game. And I mean, the live stream that you did with Jesse, to be fair, like there was half of the mistake that were because of the new Coinbase wallet, and we did some change, but it was still a very painful live to watch from my point of view. And that's the type of stuff that we need to make sure that it will never happen again, because obviously new users won't have the time or energy to just go through the Discord, ask the question, restart the app. So on the game, we're shifting our mindset from like not like we still want to move fast and stuff, but trying to make sure that we consolidate and that everything is like as solid as possible. And on cloud, it's also a different game, but more like still keeping this ship fat breathing aspect.
Perfect. And actually, that's a good segue. I wanted you brought up Clout. Is there anything you want to share or anything new and exciting about Clout that's coming up?
Yeah, actually, that's quite the right time to share like that. So we are partnering with our first very big client that's called Z. So it's uh, the name exactly is Z Champion, I think. Yeah, Z Champion, which is a horse betting game on crypto.
Oh,
And
nice.
so we're going to be building the very first Twitter mindshare leaderboard with on-chain metrics. And so the idea is that, like on the opposite side of what Kaito or Cookie could be doing, where anyone can participate and like you end up with a lot of farmers, a lot of bots just like tweeting about the stuff, but no one is actually playing the game, or like there is no user convention. It's really hard to track. It's really hard to know how much people we actually help bring on. And here we're gonna basically cross the data that they have, and so whenever people will sign with and attach their Twitter on Z, we'll be able to tell them, and like the leaderboard will be only accessible to the people that sign up on Z. And so this way we're going to make sure that only the player actually playing and only the people that are actually like willing to participate will be able to be in this leaderboard on Mindshare. So it's kind of the first, I think, the first on-chain Mindshare leaderboard that will be there, and it's going to be with us. So super excited for this. There will be also a sponsored tournament next week with the Z ecosystem. So yeah, next week is going to be, you'll see the Z project a lot. And yeah, super excited for this. It's going to be the first showcase for the cloud API and the cloud project, I would say. So yeah, pumped.
That that is super cool. And I've actually heard of Zed. I know there's been like the horse racing stuff in the past, but I'm really excited, especially because I think a lot of people just see fantasy and don't like think about like the cloud and what the possibilities of cloud. And I mean, it's there's a lot of moving parts, so it's really cool to see that being, you know,
Yeah.
um, executed on.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just the core part of our business anyway. We've been tracking Twitter and assessing Twitter like influencers since the beginning. So it just kind of makes sense for us to move along this way. And we do think that it's a huge opportunity also for us. So super excited. Yeah, I can see Seven Ted feeling the Z tournaments.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny too because like I was on a space earlier with like ICO Beast, Vo, and a bunch of other people that was about like InfoFi and kind of like the Kaido stuff and kind of how like it's been super diluted and bots and stuff. And it's really like I was thinking the whole time is like clout fixes a lot of that, right? Because um, just like with like Shout and the like we've seen you like go with like monsters.fun, shout, and all these other things using clout and seeing how it's executed on that way. So Zed Run is extremely like bullish in my eyes because it's not something that is like clout's not easily farmable like by bots, right? So it's good because it's Cybele proof. Just like the reason I think fantasy, one of the main reasons that fantasy has been so successful is you guys cracked the code on like cybles and bots, like and especially like people botting, like the Malta is a great job of it, right? Finding out like when to nerf accounts if they've been botted, and I mean, I still don't know how you guys did it. Like you guys are so good at that. So I remember
Yeah,
like
you're right.
the very early tournament was nuts.
Yeah, definitely. The guy, everyone that was there in the first tournament can remind, even where people started botting the followers of like the heroes. Like, that was something that we did not expect at all. Or when people started botting the hero that were in the deck of someone else, so that we nerfed them. So yeah, definitely, been like more than a year that we've been fighting bots, and since the very beginning, there's been like money involved in fantasy leaderboard. So the anti-botting, the nerfing, making sure that everything is as organic as possible had to be nailed since day one. Otherwise, people would not have trusted the fantasy score. So on this, we do believe that we have like some strong tools that can help fight everything and make sure that we have something that is like, as qualitative as possible. Obviously, it won't be like perfect since day one, but we've been cooking some reputation score for like a long time and some stuff that's really really hard to bot, like almost impossible to bot, I believe. And so yeah, we're gonna see really soon how this play out, but quite confident that we have something that can really capture the organic aspect and the most qualitative aspect of the X discussion.
Awesome, yeah, because it's that's always been kind of like a very obvious sore spot for X, right? Is the botting, the like that whole thing, which you've seen it everywhere with like just across, especially within the crypto niche. So yeah, it's I mean that's what makes it so fun too is um, that we're it's basically it doesn't mess with your workflow at all playing fantasy because everyone's already on CT. Like we all have like before it was like this almost useless skill of like having knowing all these people, right? And I actually found some really good accounts like Jez. No had no clue about Jez and his like he's an awesome like full port trader. Never would have found him without fantasy. Like AI Bro says the same thing. There's a lot of people that find new accounts that way. And then I wanted to ask real quick on how has things been post base migration?
From which point of view, like the game itself, or like
Just like just yeah, I guess for the game itself we can start there, but like just yeah, like overall, like just workflow, how's like
hmm,
the morale and all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, so migrating to base was in the end kind of an easy solution and an easy decision for us, for many different reasons, because like most of the community is really like the fantasy community is closer to the EVM vibe, I would say, than the Solana vibe. Like it was EVM, so it was easy to merge, to bridge to base, and like the base mini app was really the one of the most ambitious projects we've seen like in this year in crypto. And it's actually like kind of similar to what the blast vision had, but fairly well executed this time and like well built. So kind of excited to like come. We basically arrived at the perfect moment where we were just at the start of this new adventure with base, and so really bullish on this aspect. Overall, I think like everyone can love it, the base migration, that's for sure. And now that we have this huge channel of people testing the mini app, testing the free to play mode that we've built just for this. Now the goal is really to focus on acquiring new users as much as possible and making sure that we just make number go up, basically.
Awesome. And so this is what would you say that the biggest hurdle for fantasy is right now at this point in time?
I would say that it's the barrier to entry into the game is still quite high, because so the game might be easy to understand and how to master, but to be fair, like when people just arrive and see this, it's hard for them to think that they have an edge, like compared to someone else. And so often when you look at fantasy sports or like even like betting or gambling in general, people start doing those stuff, even though they know that at the end some people lose. They do it because they think that they have an edge on top of someone else. And so that's and that's I think the biggest barrier to entry that we have to like, and that's why the free to play is here, so that you have like a fast paced fun game that you can just like start playing and having fun, and like you actually realize, oh wow, actually I kind of like nailed it on this tournament. Oh wow, like this time I earned some, like this would be worth this much. And you start like checking the price, just understanding what it takes to, and realize that it's actually just require you a couple of like $100 maybe for a decent common deck. And like this would be the biggest I think hurdle for fantasy. But the good news is that the retention is really insane, and that's like really where in terms of game, whenever we convert your user, basically he stay forever. And so that's why we can focus on really like just increasing the number of people that test it out and making sure the conversion is as the best as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. Say the conversion is you see people who don't even play. I mean, there's heroes that don't play, and there's also just or maybe they because a lot of the heroes are very busy, but they even say the retention's insane. You hear it. I don't think you can go to any major crypto Twitter space or like from Rec Radio to you know FOMO, which is basically the same thing, but Thread Guy spaces or I know you guys were on with Lucas last week, but everyone's kind of was like has been over the last year buzzing about fantasy, talking about, and it always comes back to the retention.
Mm.
So we talked about the biggest hurdle. What would you say the biggest strength is? I think I know what you're gonna say, but what's the fantasy's biggest strength?
I mean, I think it's the community that we've created so far. Like that's, if I had one takeaway from this, that would be it. And people like most of the time don't realize how like first one, it's super hard to create such a community, and but once you kind of get it first, like you see awesome stuff because we see the fantasy community like winning all the time, and this is something I'm super proud to have. Like most of the, I mean, there is some conflict sometimes, obviously, but most of the time I can see a lot of like help and sharing and just all of synergy that get created basically. And whenever we put our focus on something and the fantasy community is here to help, then we know that we are like invincible basically, and we can really achieve a lot of stuff. And this is pretty rare, to have a community that doesn't want to dump on each other, that there's not trying to, it's like it's really positive to be in fantasy community overall. And that's something that I think is really undervalued in crypto.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that still to this day is super like shocking to myself and a lot of people is generally in like even if you go back to fantasy sports, it's especially like Friends League, you see a lot of people like they almost like corner the alpha. They corner like their little secret spot of where they're finding stuff because you're going against each other. But in fantasy, like everyone is sharing the pick, sharing the alpha, who's undervalued, who's a good hero, like, and at the end of the day, we're all going against each other, right? But it doesn't seem that way, right? Because we're all helping each other. HK's been doing it since day one. There's multiple creators across the fantasy community, and there's also like within the club ball chat and the Discord. No matter like even just on Twitter, people are sharing and going back and forth talking shop, and it's just awesome to see, especially in something that's competitive, and like it's very very unique, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, agreed.
Who This is kind of a fun question. Who's your favorite hero?
Oh,
Put you on the spot.
I mean, the I do love the Mackenzie strategy, and I think it's been like the fact that he committed to like tweeting in a way that maximize the fantasy like outputs is kind of insane to me. Like the to see like the behavior change that we can see from that. Other than that, I mean, it's an easy one, but Ansem has been supporting fantasy since day one. Met him in New York. He's like this really cool guy and chill guy, and like oh, and it's kind of rare also to see someone that can become such the main character or like thread guy. Those two guys like so genuine and I could like I bet some money that it will still be there in a couple of years and not rugging anyone and not becoming the SBF or whatever like bad actors that we've seen so much. And crypto needs this kind of actors so much that it's really refreshing to see this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Makesy has, because we've seen like we talked about it with Makesy this last, I think it was Saturday, or no, it was Friday we did the show. Friday we had Makesy on. He kind of had said that a couple other heroes had tried doing the Makesy strategy, didn't work.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean Evans. I think Evans did it a bit, and it kind of
yep.
worked a bit. But yeah, now is.
He
I mean,
couldn't
it's
quite
it's
master. Yeah.
it get even harder because if you don't commit to the strategy perfectly, you kind of like fuck your older even more. That's the hard part in some way. So definitely, yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah, and you can mess your like it's crazy how he's done it without messing his algo, like Twitter algo up, because I know like just from like tweeting when like back in like January through like end of January, like beginning to end, I was like either me or my kids were really sick. And so I took some time. Like I was still tweeting a little bit, but not near as much. And then I came back and it's like I was from day one, right? So like to not mess that algo up, he's really got it mastered. And the fact that he's like
Yeah,
he knows the exact time to tweet, not tweet, but
that's
it's a lot of
impressive. Yeah,
fun.
definitely
Absolutely.
impressive.
Um, are you and Mikado super competitive with each other? Like I know me and my brothers are.
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, a bit like when you have a twin, you even if you don't want to be competitive, like people will put you in a spot where they
Yep.
like end up like comparing you. But on a daily basis, I don't think we don't really try to be, and we don't really push for this. We've been working together for 3 years now, and even though it's been going super well, we know that it's also like a really risky stuff to work with his family with your family, because you don't want your work to end up a relationship with your brother or with like I mean, a friend is already terrible, but your brother is like something else. So we've been quite um, putting a lot of attention in making sure that this goes well and we don't end up fighting too much.
That is so cool. Yeah, because um, I know. Actually, before this, I talked to it's Kevin and Caleb's their name. My like they're friends, but little brothers I call them. That are twins, identical twins, and I was like, give me some questions to ask them. Another one, who's older, you or Mikado?
That would be me. 20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes. Oh, so there
Yes.
was a little, yeah, because the boys, Kevin and Caleb, they're like minute, like
Oh
it's like two
wow.
minutes apart. Like so it was like bang bang.
Bang bang. Yeah, no. I
Yeah.
mean 20 minutes I believe is like on a bit on the longer side, but it's still quite normal. You can wait up until 30 minutes and it's fine.
Yeah, you were ready. You're ready to come into the world.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's super
exactly.
cool.
No. But
Yeah. So, when do you how like do you play the game a lot?
yeah,
Or like,
basically I
oh, go ahead.
mean, I think I actually missed one week, like 1 week, 2 week ago, but otherwise I'm playing every week.
Yep.
I mean,
Oh,
it's still so much fun for me, and that's the I think what's matter also is that we are still most of us are still playing. Not sure about Travis or Mikado, but definitely you can check my profile and you'll see a deck pretty
yeah.
much every week.
Yeah, because I know that like just the amount of time, like because HK and I are talking like every day nonstop, like DMs or in calls, and just like even during this tournament, we're thinking already thinking about who to pick up, right? For like the next week, who's not tweeting, if they're gonna tweet, if they don't tweet, who we're gonna pick up, and just thinking you guys are building, you know, this something that's never been seen before, and then also playing the game, which is super cool. What's it like being like we always joke around and say like the devs are the kindling, right? Do you ever play yourself, or is it only in reverse?
Uh, I I do play myself, like, but to be honest, it's quite rare. I played Paris much more, but yeah, I know that I'm on the bad hero side of of fantasy, and it was something that troubled me a lot. I would say in the beginning, to be honest. So I was like spent a lot of time trying to tweet and all, but at some point it also comes down to me making sure that fantasy
Yeah.
like the game and the company evolve as much as possible, and so at some point I just accepted that I would be like not the best hero. So I'm trying to, like, when I see an occasion where I know I can perform well, and I think the base V3 was my top performance and stuff. I've tried to push really hard, and but there is some weeks definitely I know that it's going to be the best. So I play myself in reverse, yeah.
Yep, that's awesome.
And I saw many Fantardio players saying I stopped playing the devs because I don't want to be in conflict between them tweeting and them building the app. And yeah, I understand them.
Yep, that is awesome. Um, so the oh crap, say we kind of oh yeah. What was the inspiration behind Cloud?
Like, obviously Kaito was kind of a of a mind blowing even for us, because we've been thinking about some stuff for some times, but didn't spend enough like energy and resources, as it was completely different. And when we see it, we it kind of clicked that it was what fantasy could become, and what's like that's like something that a few people could challenge, but we were on the right spot. And so yeah, like definitely Kato was a big inspiration from this. And with fantasy we've always tried to I mean democratize as much as possible the access, and making sure that everyone could be there participating. Kaito is a bit more exclusive, and so it does make sense from like a quality point of view, but we are going to try to make it like quality is obviously the most important factor, because people need to trust everything. See, if you end up like having people creating like more bot or farm, it can be negative for the project, so that would be the worst outcome. So definitely we want the product to be happy, but crypto has always been around making like democratizing the access and allowing anyone to participate, and that's something that's in our core value. And just like the cloud with anyone can be a hero is an expansion of that, and something that's really in our core value, I would say. And so obviously, yes, it's not easy to become a hero. You still have to compete with everyone, but if you put your art onto it, and if it's a focus that you have, you can definitely become one. And I think that's what matter, is like showing the step for you to become and like score as much as someone as like one of our top heroes. And with cloud is the same idea. And like yeah, we have many more like ideas and vision for this product, but right now we're just like trying to nail it for like a few customer and see how we can expand. But you could expect us coming from an approach that will make it scale much more from day one, the day we really release the end product that we have in mind.
Awesome. Yeah, say it goes back to saying you guys are always thinking so many. You're playing like 4 or 5D chest, so always thinking
Yeah,
ahead. That's
I
so
mean,
awesome.
you can have to, honestly. It's the only way to survive here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so is there anything you want to talk about or bring up? Say we've nailed a lot of the questions I had.
Yeah, no, nothing has come to mind. Excited for next week on my end, but nothing else.
Absolutely. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. Definitely. I know you're a super busy man. And I appreciate you coming on, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm sure there's gonna be a bunch of good clips. We got some good clippers in the community that'll bust out
Nice,
some good clips in here.
nice, awesome. Thank you so much, man. That was really a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kipit. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. See you.
Bye.